This is a flip book. This old school children's project serves as a model for the literal, bigger picture. With each page, a new scene is added, a new motion, a new life to a once stagnant character, much like in the movies we watch on the big screens. To understand why these illusions of perception work, we have to peer deeper into the eyes, into the brain. In an article called The Persistence of Vision by Michael McKinney, he describes what he calls "I think, therefore I see" phenomena. Light travels through the lens, the pupil, the retina. Neurons in the optic nerve fire, and an image is perceived in the brain. The eye does not replicate the world around us in our brain, but instead transports information from one of our 5 senses. Our brain then interprets this information with the help of color and size constancy, retinal disparity, and interposition, among other phenomena to which our consciousness makes the connection, and we see binder, white binder, thin white binder. But what goes on in between perception? Coming back to our flipbook and movies and TV shows, even the videos we watch on our laptops and phones and tablets, the motion we see is actually a set of still frames presented in almost immediate succession of one another. If you were to draw all the scenes in the flipbook on one page, it would look something like this. In a flipbook with many pages or frames, the images would slightly overlap. The progression in position of the object on the page registers in our brain as movement. The faster you flip, the less stutter the image produces, because the less amount of time the brain has to process the gap in scenes. Within these lapses in perception, our brain has evolved to fill in the gaps in information automatically, without our knowing or realization. The brain fills in what is preconceived to be correct, what our unconscious thinks will match. So how can we be sure what we know to be real is really real? Essentially, what this concept reveals is persistence of thought. As the authors from Foundations magazine point out, we see what makes sense to us, not necessarily what is there. What we see is governed by what we perceive to be real. This mental manipulation of sorts can leave us chasing ghosts and shadows in search of something we cannot fully grasp, something intangible. Take magicians, for example. Their profession capitalizes on our perceptual gaps, and with a simple sleight of hand, they go from "nothing in my hands" to "is this your card?" In short, when it comes to sensation, sight, sound, smell, touch, taste, and the traveling of information from point A to point B, perception is not immediate. Our brains are machines with seemingly spontaneous reactions and reflexes. So I ask, when you return to your work and your school, your homes, your cars, your lives, I ask that you please mind the gap.